Hi everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to a very merry Plantmas, and today I am finally taking the plunge. I will be repotting my monstera albo in winter. Thank you so much for joining me today, and this is a very merry Plantmas where we take a look back at our plant journey in 2021 and also celebrate the holiday season. And if you've watched my previous Plantmas videos, I've been contemplating repotting my monstera albo. And by looking at it, you can see why. It has been producing exclusively white leaves. And as you can see, this one is already browning. This one has started to brown. And the newest leaf that it popped out is completely white and is also already starting to brown. And while we love albo variegation in our house plants, it's not really good for the plant to be continuously pushing out white leaves. So hopefully by chopping this and repotting it, it would help encourage it to push more greener leaves, or leaves with a lot more greener variegation. And as you can see down here, about a month or so ago, I started air layering this in anticipation of me might having to do this. And also last night, and I would insert the clip of me doing it, I chopped it off and separated it from the mother plant. And I did that last night because I want the nodes to callus overnight, and now it has. This is the night before I am repotting my monstera albo. And as you can see here, I've been air layering this plant and it has already grown significant roots that I could repot it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it over here. I'm kind of hesitant, or I'm kind of like second guessing if I should also cut it over here, because the aerial root over here is not as long as this one yet. But since this one is still shooting out white leaves, there's really no sense of not cutting it and propagating that separately. So we will see what happens. It is unnerving to be propagating a monstera albo node essentially, but it's just kind of have something we have to do, since you can look at the leaves over here. They're just like all dying out because they're purely white. So here's a sharp sterilized knife. I'm using my Cricut one. So this one is kind of a fairly easy decision to do because this one's already air layered, and I'm just cutting it in the middle. And I don't know if you can see over here, there is kind of a grow point going on. Not sure if that's a grow point for a new leaf or for a new root, but either way it's good news. But I'm just concerned that it's still growing out of the white side of the node instead of the green side. But maybe if this is a new growth, it would push out a much greener leaf after I separate this top part of the plant. So cutty cut. There we go. So there it is, a fresh cutting, and I'm just gonna let that callus overnight before I repot it. Sadly, I also definitely have to chop off this white leaves because it's not doing the plant any good. And to repot my monstera albo, I'll be placing it in a self-watering planter that I received from Emerging Green for free in exchange for my honest review. And this one comes in a set of 5 in either gray or white. And you can find this product on Amazon. I'll have my Amazon associates link down in the description if you want to check it out. And this is my second time working with Emerging Green. And what I love about their company, it's a sustainable small business, and a lot of their products are made from recycled materials like this one. And I'm choosing to put it in a self-watering planter because, as I would talk about in an upcoming video, winter vacation plant care tips, I am leaving for vacation in 2 weeks for 2 weeks. So I want my monstera albo to have access to water while I'm gone. So that's the reason why I'm putting it in a self-watering planter. And I'm also going to be keeping it in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet, so it would have access to ample humidity as it recovers from the repotting, as well as hopefully pushing out a new growth. So yeah, so let's go ahead and repot my monstera albo. So this one is the air layered part. We're going to take that out. So we're going to put this one aside for now. I'm saving this net because I want to use it as a lining for the self-watering planters. And I already used the other 4 to repot my other plants that I need to be in self-watering planters before I go on vacation. And the one thing that I don't like about it, well, it's going to happen no matter what type of self-watering planter that you use, is soil gets into the water reservoir because, of course, the planter would have drainage holes. So I think a solution to that is to line the planter with a netting like this, and it might help reduce the flow of the soil into the drainage hole. And so with this one, I'm just going to gently take out the Sphagnum Moss. And there you go. I'm not going to try to do it completely because I don't want to ruin the roots that it has already grown. And I am cutting off this leaf and cutting off this one. Because there's no help to it. And I don't really know if I should cut this one already, but we will see. I'm gonna make up my mind as I go. Here is the planter, just making sure that the string is threaded. There you go. I put it like that. You could essentially just create a knot so that it doesn't fall off back into the water reservoir, but that's what I do, so it has a double wick. I'm taking the mother plant, so this one is, I'm trying to not disturb the roots, so I'm essentially just taking it out like that. And as you can see, it is root bound, it is due for repotting. That I'm just gonna try to pop it in. So this is the lining. I'm gonna use it down here like that. Oh god, okay. And I'm gonna put the Sphagnum Moss at the bottom. Right. So this would help the soil not drop into the water reservoir and also help with the capillary action. And now I'm just loosening the bottom. So I'm trying to push it up front as much as I can because I'll have to put the stake up in here eventually. Not right now, but eventually. So with this one, just placing it right here, and I think I'm going to place it on the other side because it sits more comfortably that way. So I'm just going to let the aerial root grow into the soil, and once I'm kind of confident that it has grown some, I will just separate it from this one, so this one has a chance to produce new growth as well. But yeah, so let's go ahead and pop this up. So I'm not using a particularly special soil. This is just Miracle-Gro because this is the only one I have available right now that I could find in Lowe's and Home Depot, and I don't want to make a trip to a nursery just to buy soil. So this would do. Because you saw how dry the roots were and the soil that I'm using is not pre-moistened, I would have to water this first before I put water in the reservoir. With self-watering planters, what I like to do is to make sure the soil is already wet and then give it a water reservoir for it to actually properly work. And that's how I do it, and it has worked with me pretty well. It doesn't cause root rot or anything. And the point of the water reservoir, it is a reservoir. It's not something that your plants should be soaking in right away. As you can see, this is the water reservoir where I'll be putting water. But like I said, I want to fully water this first before I give it a water reservoir. So let me take out the bottom part first and let me water it. drain out. Pouring some water into the water reservoir container, just up to the max line. And popping it in. Just make sure it's locked so that it doesn't fall off. And let me go wipe it out. So that's how I repotted my monstera albo, and also essentially propagating it in hopes that it would push more greener leaves. And I will definitely keep you updated on my monstera albo here on YouTube, as well as on my Instagram and TikTok. So make sure you're also following me over there as well. So hopefully it all works out for my monstera albo, especially after I come back from vacation. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up so more people can find it. And if you're new here, please do subscribe. I come up with videos every week. And now that it's Plantmas, I come up with videos 3 times a week. And if you haven't yet, go check out the rest of my Plantmas videos. I'll link the playlist up here and also down in the description, so you can watch those until you wait for my next one. But until then, I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful holiday season. Bye.